my god.
Alright, how's it going, everyone? My name's Stratz. Sorry if I sound a little under the weather. Currently sick, but I wanted to roll out a video for you guys for the best settings to use for the Littlebird that just got added into Battlefield 6 during Season 2 update. This is the loadout that I'm running. I'm running the heavy rotary MG, the light rockets, the motion sensor. So this is going to help you if you put it on an objective, say that objective C on Conquest is like super bogged down all the time with enemies and friendlies fighting over it. You can put this down, and what it does is basically pings the whole time. So you're going to gain a lot of assists and XP if your friendlies capture the point, and also if they kill anyone that got detected on that motion sensor. The smoke launcher is kind of okay. Really the only thing I have ever used it for is if I got shot and I had to land and heal as engineer. I popped that smoke launcher on the ground so they couldn't really hit me, but enemy helis and stuff will already guess where you're at. As far as the upgrade goes, I use the stabilizer. I've seen a lot of people use engine upgrade, but stabilizer really helps me put shots on target, and I honestly recommend this more than any of the other upgrades. Interference really isn't that useful. I don't really get locked on a lot for AA because I'm flying so low to the ground. Really my main threats are RPGs, and then also enemy attack helicopters and enemy Littlebirds. And then finally, for the remote weapon for your gunner or your co-pilot, I choose the directional jammer. I know the target designator is good if you maybe had like AA or a air-to-ground missile. However, target designator isn't really, in my opinion, that good. I like the directional jammer. You can prevent handheld and vehicle-mounted enemy devices to lock on against you. So instead of using that interference option for my upgrade, if I have a co-pilot with me, they can actually jam shoulder-fired air-to-air missiles and then or ground-to-air missiles, I guess, and then also against air, and then also against other air assets, and also against the anti-aircraft tanks as well. Alright guys, now to actually get into the settings for the Littlebird, I'm going to show you guys my controller settings and what I run. Again, I'm playing on an Xbox Series X, so if you guys are playing on console, or even if you're playing on controller on your computer, you guys can copy these settings. Highly recommend it. Helicopter control assists, I turn these off. I know I used to fly with them on, however, the reticle gets messed up whenever you're flying. Basically, wherever you're looking, the aircraft will go, and that's where the aircraft will be centered on. However, your crosshairs for actually aiming the guns and things like that won't be centered, or won't be actually where you're aiming. So I highly recommend turning this off, hopping into the practice range and learning how to fly with this off. It has helped me a ton. Helicopter control sensitivity, I have this on 120. I turned in vertical flight off for the aircraft. For my vehicle aim sensitivity, I got this at 45. I turned my field of view up on the third person all the way up. My gunner aim sensitivity is 75. Vertical aim ratio of 48. I always have uniform vehicle aiming off, but I turn it off to put this to 73, and then switch this back on. My sensitivity coefficient is 133. My aim input curve is Battlefield 3, and stick acceleration input is at Battlefield Bad Company 2. Now this input curve and input acceleration, these are the same as my multiplayer settings. So whatever I recommend, if you run a different aim input curve, I highly recommend this one. This one's my favorite one that I've used so far in Battlefield, and this is what I've stuck to ever since probably 2 weeks from launch. But if you do have an input curve, whatever you use on the ground, I recommend swapping it over to your helicopter, make it a little bit easier to aim. My vehicle weapon zoom is on hold, and I use my gunner zoom as LT. That's just when I'm sitting over in the passenger seat, but my helicopter zoom is LB. I've turned off flick look mode as well. I don't really use that at all, and I'll get into the control mappings here in a second, just so you guys can see what I'm running. For exit vehicle, I have unbound because I have it on the next one as a hold. So this is really going to make a difference whenever you have... So this is really going to make a difference if you experience like accidentally getting out of the helicopters whenever you're trying to reload your missiles and things like that. I recommend binding it to this so that way you can just tap to reload and then actually hold X to exit the vehicle. Change seats I have on A, that's all standard. Chase camera I have on my left stick pushing in. Clearing pings I have up on the D-pad. Now this is where my controls actually different a little bit from other people's. Instead of using throttle down on my left stick, I actually use throttle up as right trigger, throttle down as left trigger. Y'all right, y'all left, pitch, and roll. Those are all standard stick controls, what I use. Again, I don't use heli assist because I turned that off a while ago, but if you guys still do use that, highly recommend putting that on your right trigger and left trigger. Free look up, free look down, that's all the same. And then my free look is actually on my right stick, so I can click that in and then free look wherever I need to look out for enemy attack helicopters, look for other targets and things like that. For my weapons and equipment, my fire is on RB, helicopter zoom is on LB. If you're on PlayStation, this is going to be R1 and L1. Switch weapon is Y, primary weapons Y, things like that. Pretty standard as far as that goes. So yeah, I'm running custom helicopter buttons and stick settings, and then I can actually show you guys my controller tuning. So if you don't have the dead zones that I have, this will probably help you a little bit out on your input as well. I have controller vibration off, center dead zone and axial dead zone is 2 on both my left and right stick, and then my max input threshold on my left stick is 75. What this basically does is shrink the area that you have to move your stick up or anywhere in any direction to be able to move your character. So if you put this down to, let's say 10, I only have to move my controller, say 10 nanometers to activate me going forward. Whereas if I have it at 100, I have to, move it 100 nanometers. And I know it's actually not a measure of distance, but I'm just saying that's like, in a comparative way, distance to actually pushing in on your sticks. For the right stick, I run 22 and 100, and then for triggers, I run 0505. It's just the lowest you can go. That way you can get the most snappy response out of your triggers if you're trying to get that hair trigger feel, if you don't have any mouse click triggers or anything like that. All right, guys, that's it for the settings, but for my next video, I'm thinking of either making a AR, the new AR, best setup or best class to use within multiplayer. If you guys would like to see that, go ahead and drop that in the comments. Other than that, I may be dropping a best strategies for the Littlebird on each map, maybe Littlebird spawns, and then some routes to take to actually use that loadout that I showed you early in the video to your advantage. But that is all I have for you guys. I greatly appreciate you tuning in, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.